fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well, greetings, young Jedi. Hello there.
What is up, everyone? Hybrid Toy Reviews here, wanting to talk about this weekend's new Black Series drops. So, I have been so excited over the last couple of months, waiting for a Mando and Grogu trailer, and Super Bowl was where we were supposed to get one, and they gave us that Budweiser parody thing, and I have just been waiting for something to be excited about, because Mando and Grogu is coming up quick. We're like 3 months out from it, and we should be like getting stuff. You know, we should be getting trailers. We should be seeing it every commercial break on every TV channel. You know, like they should be pushing it. And we don't even have any toys yet until this last weekend. I think it's New York Toy Fair was going on. And these all got posted on Gizmodo IO9, which is the most ad-filled, spammy-looking website ever, but I don't know that was Hasbro's choice to pick with them. I don't know if that was more of a Lucasfilm thing, but yeah, I hate all the pop-ups. But we got all sorts of Mando and Grogu toys revealed over this weekend. I am going to focus on the Black Series ones because that is the primary focus for us. If you check back to last week's Talking Toys with the Boys, Vincent and I talked about some leaked Lego sets. I think we talked about some Funkos. No, we had Funkos from All Shadowlord. We didn't have the Funkos for this out yet. Point being, we talked about some Lego stuff. You know, we're like starting to get those breadcrumbs of Mando and Grogu. And then we get an entire wave of Mando and Grogu Black Series, and this is equally as exciting as a trailer to me because I get to look at all these toys and look at things about them that, make them, that show little signs of what's to come. You know, there's little things that you can deduce about the movie from the figures if you look. So, I'm very, very excited about that. I'm going to run through them in figure numerical order. They are, of course, all going to be in Mando and Grogu packaging, which is going to be the Black Series packaging with a dark blue coloring, which is nice. We don't really get a lot of dark blue. They try to be very vibrant. I think the dark blue and black is going to be a very, very nice color packaging, going forward on the Mando and Grogu stuff. So it's just very muted, and I like that. Figure number 1 in the Mando and Grogu lineup is the Mandalorian and Grogu, and I feel like that's exactly how it should be. Now, we saw this leaked months ago. I don't know whatever happened to it, but someone had one on Facebook Marketplace, of all places. And so we had like a okay photo. It was a little fuzzy, but it wasn't bad. And I remember trying to find that listing because I'd have paid whatever it would have taken. But I digress. We finally have our pretty promotional photos, and they have had the figure photographer guy go all out on the snowy diorama on these. But this Mando is packed with accessories. This is definitely a deluxe figure. Looking at him, this is very much the Glavis Ringworld Mandalorian, just with some different paint apps going on. The thigh plates are a little bit shinier. They don't have the brown on them anymore. He has the soft goods cape, which is way better. He seems to have gotten his pistol and jetpack back somewhere after leaving them on Mandalore by the end of the 3rd season. And then he has the added accessories of he has his vibro knife and a swappable hand so that he can use those. And with that said, the swappable hand is a ball-jointed hand, so they've modified the arms at least to be ball-jointed wrists on this guy instead of the hinge and swivels. But it's a swappable hand for the vibro knife. We saw this on the Durasteel Target exclusive one, which isn't out yet but should be coming out very soon. And then he comes with 2 new accessories, being that short little like gladiator looking sword. It's a short, it's wide, it's got like a stubby one-hand handle, and it's very cool. And then he comes with this rifle that's kind of there are elements about it that are very Boba Fett, with like the open handle and the stock on it. But then it's like a hunting rifle with a scope. It's like a long silver barrel. It's an interesting weapon. I would be curious to see how long he uses it in the movie, whether it becomes his like new, disintegration rifle, or if it's going to be just something that he uses for, an act and gets left behind somewhere. You know how sometimes we'll just pick something up and use it for a fight and leave it behind. So we'll be curious to see whether either of those new weapons stick with him, so to be said. And then we get a new Grogu here, and he's kind of in a seated position, but his clothes are draping. And it took me a minute to work it out. But the Vintage Collection got a deluxe with all these same things in it. And that Grogu had a peg for him to be hanging off of the side of Mando's jetpack. So it seems like Grogu is doing like shoulder cat things in this movie. So that's really cool. So it's a new version of the Grogu accessory, and I look forward to that. So this is probably ultimately the least exciting thing here, just because like we've all had a couple of silver Mandos, but there's enough going on with the new accessories. I will be picking this one up. And with that said, moving on over to figure number 2, we have the Imperial Remnant AT-AT driver. This is really, really cool. So this is almost a Empire Strikes Back AT-AT driver, but the big thing I can tell is the belt is different. I mean, both different in like total design, but it also has a holster. The Imperial one from the Empire Strikes Back features leg straps, kind of like an X-Wing pilot does. So by removing those, and then the boots are a little bit different in this guy too. He doesn't have like the big chunky moon boots going on. That said, everything about this appears to be a new figure with modern articulation, which makes me think, hey, a new belt and like new boots, and we could have an upgraded Empire Strikes Back figure. So Hasbro, please, Hasbro. So, I'm sure they're already thinking it. It's really cool with these remnants. If they make a new version of the figure for the remnant, it makes it very easy to backtrack and give us a traditional look. I don't think the old AT-AT driver's bad, but there's new pieces now, so now I want them. But this guy is really cool. The weathering on this guy is very, very nice. The remnant weathering is different than the Remnant Trooper we have from Episode 1 of The Mandalorian. I know some people don't like how that figure turned out. I'd like to point out that figure turned out exactly like it looked in the show. And I like those, but these just seem to be a little bit more subtle with it. The weathering is not full-blown like flakes of white falling off. This is more just grime. I think they would blend well with those older Target exclusive Remnant Stormtroopers from like 4 years ago, 5 years, 6 years ago. Wow, 6 years ago was when Season 1 happened. Yeah, but this just looks really, really good, and I'm just excited for it. It's a good-looking Remnant AT-AT driver. Working to figure number 3, we have the Imperial Remnant AT-RT driver. So it's bizarre that we're getting this guy and not like a Black Series scaled AT-RT. I don't think it's so big that Hasbro couldn't do it. I hope that an AT-RT for this movie is coming. The Vintage Collection got one. We remember that Vale's Toys one that came out a couple months ago now. It's just proof that it's not too big for the Black Series, So I hope this doesn't mean that it's not happening. I would very much like to have that Imperial one. But this guy is another interesting figure, like the AT-AT driver, whereas, his helmet and his chest armor is very much a shore trooper, a beach trooper, but his legs and his arms are full-blown Imperial Stormtrooper as far as the armor placement and just the sculpt, but they are modernized. You can tell he's got the single elbows that obviously go past 90. There's no thigh swivel. He's got like modern snowtrooper parts, and then the skirt, while rubber, which I hate that it's rubber, features a singular holster going on, and they could use that for a snowtrooper officer, and then they could modify the belt to not have the holster, so it could be a normal snowtrooper. Just looking at these, I mean, it's just, there's options here. They're basically a new chest and helmet, and you would have an Imperial Snowtrooper. You've got like 70% of it done. So please, Hasbro, please. But otherwise, he looks to be a very, very cool figure. One that I'm looking forward to getting at least one of, maybe two. And just a very, Very good, well done. Also well weathered, similar to the AT-AT driver. Figure number 4 in the lineup is going to be Colonel Ward. This is Sigourney Weaver's character in the Mando and Grogu. And, we've seen 2 looks for her now. This is her X-Wing pilot look, but she has that, green jacket, while on the base look. And I definitely want that one as well, but I feel like we wouldn't be getting this if there wasn't some, iconic reason to be getting it. We're probably going to see her do some cool X-Wing pilot stuff this movie. And, yeah, one thing, the likeness on this one isn't super doing it for me, not gonna lie. And I know exactly where it goes wrong, and where it is for me. She has, think about, everything you've ever seen her in. She has her kind of poofy, big volume hair. And because they have to give her a removable helmet instead of the swappable head, which I'm not advocating for that, I'm just acknowledging that's what's happened here, they had to sculpt her hair down, that way the helmet would fit over it. And then she's just, the likeness comes across rather square-jawed. I think it would still look square-jawed even if it had floofier hair going on. But it's just, I think it would distract or not make it as obvious, if we had one or the other changed. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do for a on base, the bluey green jacket version, where hopefully she's, a little bit more Sigourney Weaver looking. For now, she's going to be wearing the helmet. This is a new X-Wing pilot sculpt. The white flak vest appears to be an overlay. She no longer has the double pin knees. She has the single and the swivel, and it looks like the thigh swivel's gone, so it's going to look that much better. This is slightly different from a Rebellion X-Wing pilot, mostly just in how the straps on the belt are hanging down instead of running between the legs with the loops around the knees. But that's a swappable, fixable thing. Point being, we now have a new X-Wing pilot mold. The body is not coming across as, overly feminine nor overly male. It almost is looking unisex, which wearing a baggy jumpsuit like that, it's not going to be, figure hugging. So this is something that they could probably get away with using for, other X-Wing pilots, as long as the sculpt is not, super short. I don't offhand know how tall she is supposed to be. But she also comes with a new X-Wing pilot helmet. The chin strap is gone, but it has the microphone in front of her mouth. And it appears the yellow visor is either removable or maybe it flips up, which is how they work in universe, which is really cool. And I'm just really excited about this one, even though the likeness isn't the best. You put a helmet on it that can hide it, but there's just a lot of potential, by nature of doing this. And then, figure number 5 is the Imperial Remnant Stormtrooper, and he comes with some accessories so that you can kind of make variants of him. So he comes with a standard Stormtrooper blaster, but then he comes with a black pauldron and an ammo box on a strap that you can, just take off of him if you don't want it to be hanging on his chest. And the way I see it, there's 3 variants that you can run with right off rip, which you can have him with the pauldron and the box, you can have him with the pauldron, or you could have him with the box, and then you could have the 4th version, which is you take all that off and he's just a white grimy stormtrooper. So there's 4 things you can do, and the white grimy stormtrooper, I'd argue you could have an infinite amount of those at that point. So you could army build this guy however crazy you feel like army building this guy. I guess I'd like to see the movie just to see how many stormtroopers really are hanging out on this base. If there's only a few of them, obviously I wouldn't go too crazy on it, but I think I'm in for 4, at least so I can have one of each look at this point. But, it's just that Mando stormtrooper from 2020, with a grimy, wash over it, with a couple of accessories. We kind of we know what we're going to be getting when we get this guy. That said, I'm still very excited to get this guy, so this is going to be really cool. I look forward to this. And then that completes the main wave, but we do have a Target exclusive Imperial Remnant Stormtrooper. And this guy does not come with swappable parts, but he comes with the Stormtrooper E11, and then he has brown paint all over his left shin, and he has some sort of brown, like, leather band around his left bicep, where, like the left leg is just a painted Stormtrooper leg, but the bicep is a new sculpt. It's got some kind of like leather band strap going around holding the armor together. He's got some subtly different weathering on him. It appears to be a little bit heavier than the mainline Remnant Trooper, and this one is one that, in my opinion, you would probably only buy one of. I imagine this guy's a little bit more of a specific one. I don't know that he's going to have any particular role in the movie. It might just be a case of this one was a little bit distinctive looking. I remember like when the Enoch and Night Trooper Walmart 2-pack got announced a while back. You're like, man, like that Night Trooper with a gray helmet, why'd they pick him? He didn't stand out. He wasn't like any different than any other Night Trooper. There was no standout Night Trooper in those final fights. They just grabbed that one design. So it makes me wonder if this guy's like special, or if they were just like, this guy's different because he has that brown leg, let's make him. So anyway, this one I don't, because he's obviously more of like a very specific one of the group. I think I'm just going to grab the one of, but it is cool that they are getting a Target exclusive. I'm a little thrown that we didn't get a Walmart exclusive or anything yet, but we have time leading up to the movie. I'm sure we will see a Walmart exclusive come and many other things. And while those are the 6 unique figures, there technically are 11 if you want to be a completionist. On March 22nd, they are saying that is when the merch is supposed to be dropping in Walmarts and Targets. I think Target will follow that. Walmart is just going to put them on the shelf whenever they get them. But the main line, the actual wave of 5, is also getting a flashback to 2019 first edition packaging. So this is the same packaging, except the front of the box is white, and it has a big sticker saying First Edition in a ton of different languages on it. Pause and read whichever best applies to you, and see my thing from the reviews. There is going to be no difference between these figures and the normal packaging. The packaging is purely going to be what's different. March 22nd is when they're supposed to be hitting Walmart and Target. I think Target will honor that street date. Target is pretty good about the street dates. Walmart, if it shows up in the back room of your local Walmart on February, 17th, they're going to put it out. That's how Walmarts in my area are. So anyway, then February's, way too early. But I think anytime like March, like the week before, basically anytime the week before, I would start looking at your local Walmarts, just to make sure you don't miss. They didn't say anything specifically. They didn't say anything like every Walmart's getting one case, they haven't said that. It's going to be just kind of at random, it sounds like. So you're going to have to hunt. I imagine it'll be a case of when the case shows up, it will be a case full of the white boxes. It won't be like one white box in a case of otherwise normal boxes. That's how they did the other first edition wave. We really just don't have a lot of intel to really base it off of. It could be, but I just don't suspect that. I think if you get there and you find a case with one white box, all of them are going to be white boxes in that case. Also going to be interesting how they're going to work that out with the Mando and Grogu being a deluxe. Everyone here's $27 except for him. He's going to be like 35-ish or 37, whatever deluxe is going for these days. And it just makes me wonder, like, they're obviously not going to be in the same shipper boxes, so maybe you'll get lucky and your store will get a shipper box of both in the first edition and you just have to make one stop. But I'm guessing probably you're going to go to the store and find some white first edition, like mainline, and then another store you're going to find your Mando and Grogu. And then the other thing is the Mando and Grogu at that point would then be a shipper box of like 6 of the same all-in white boxes, which makes me think that they're either going to make less quantity overall, but the store that gets him is going to have more of him. I guess I ponder how that's going to work out. I feel like there's potential that people are going to like go to the store, find a peg full of 6 Mando and Grogus, and then remembering the white box Mando from last go around, clear out all 6 and put them on eBay or whatever, which kind of sucks, but it's just the nature of him being a deluxe, I guess. But we'll have to see how it ultimately works out. I hope that if you are looking for these, you can track them down. The white boxes are not something that I'm gonna like be crazy hunting for. The 22nd, I probably will make a weekend toy hunt vlog about it. I'll probably go out and man, if I really wanted to hit a bunch of Walmarts, I could probably hit 10 of them locally in one day. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe on the 22nd I'll go out and I will hit all of my local Target and Walmarts and just see if I can't find the set of white boxes. But it's not something I'm going to kill a ton of time of. I'll spend a day doing it maybe. If I can get the set, cool. But I'm not going to like lose sleep if I can't get the set, ultimately. It's just going to be what it's going to be. The 22nd of March, I believe, is a Sunday. And let me see, I'll get my calendar pulled up. Yes, it is a Sunday. So that's going to be all right. We will figure it out. But ultimately, we have some really, really cool stuff coming from the Mando and Grogu. I am so excited about all 6 of these figures, all 11 maybe if I find the white boxes. I'm just really, really amped. This is a movie that my excitement for has been growing by the day with no help from Lucasfilm because we don't have a trailer yet. But I'm just ready to start getting some toys. I need to have like a big pile of action figures. That way, the night the movie comes out, I can go home and I can just play with all of them in the bathtub and be excited about it, and and just be, just be ready. I need all these Mando and Grogu figures. I'm so excited for this one. So let me know in the comments below, what of these figures are you picking up? I am a completionist on this as it sits. And then, is there anything that you would like to see come to the Black Series? Anything that we know is coming in the movie, anything that we've seen in the trailers. I am confident that we are getting a Zeb. The Vintage Collection somehow, balanced the scales my butt. They got 8 figures revealed and an AT-RT. But one of the other figures is a Remnant Snowtrooper. And I think that design surely will come to the Black Series. Maybe that'll be our Walmart exclusive. There's potential there. But there's stuff that could totally be coming yet. I think the Remnant Snowtrooper and Zeb from the movie are a lock. I would like to see them maybe do a deluxe Road to the Hutt, even if he doesn't have like a huge presence in the movie, even if he's even more just a cameo, like if you know him type of guy. But I'd like to get him in the Black Series. I like the guy. So anyway, there's stuff I'm excited for. Fire off in the comments. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about these. I'm so excited. May the Force be with you. I'll catch you next time. Peace.